Hello aspirants and welcome to Legacy ICE Academy. In this current affairs lecture, we will be seeing a series of responses happening with respect to USA and Bangladesh. So the news is all about USA condemning the attacks on minorities in Bangladesh. Yes, the attacks on minorities are still happening. Of course, it was in its peak in the month of August 2024, but it has not calmed down or stopped yet. It is happening, of course. So we'll see what all the exchanges were. So what is the news all about? Basically, the US spy chief, that is Miss Tulsi Gabbard. She's Miss Tulsi Gabbard. She had given some comments on the violence against the minorities. Now, it is called for because, see, the violence is happening. No one can deny it. So if someone is commenting on it, probably they are in the right to do it, but we will still dissect what all was said and what did Bangladesh then respond, subsequent to which USA further responded. Now, before we go into the detail, a very important announcement about the free All India Prelims mock test. At least everyone who's giving prelims in 2025 should subscribe for it. There's no harm for 2026 candidates to also do it, but 2025 students should subscribe for it. You will get your All India ranking. You will get a detailed solutions instantly the moment you submit your paper. At the same time, live video discussion lecture would also be there for that. And subsequent to prelims, of course, you have your mains. So the impact program of Legacy IAS Academy helps you to comprehensive practice for your answer writing and it provides you with content enrichment sessions, as well as the most important thing, that is personalized mentorship and personalized feedback. Now, this is done for all the GS paper plus essay, which is a very high scoring paper. It will be done in live sessions of over 34 sessions consisting of over 50 hours of lectures. So now let's come back to the news about Miss Tulsi Gabbard and what comment did she mention. Now, she said basically that the violence against, now what is Islamic Caliphate map doing over here? That is because with respect to what comment was said. So she said that the violence that is happening against the minorities in Bangladesh was rooted in the ideology and objective to rule and govern with an Islamist Caliphate attitude, or with an Islamist Caliphate objective. So what is this Islamic Caliphate or Islamist or Islamic Caliphate all about? So Islamist Caliphate is basically trying to be the leader of the Islamic world and trying to represent all the Islamic followers throughout the world. Followers in the sense the Islam following countries in the world, and become the leader of them. So they are trying to do, and the atrocities are happening because of that tendency, is what was said. So it is very clear it was not just condemnation of the attack, but also giving the reasons as to why this attack is happening was also mentioned by her, and probably that was one of the main points which sort of irked the Bangladeshi governance system. So we'll see subsequent to this what happened. So if you build on her basically on her own, Gabbard's statement itself, one was the Islamic Caliphate remark, the second was that this is an act of terrorism and it is our central focus of concern. USA is watching, was what was said. Now, once that was said, of course Bangladesh would respond, because they would not take this criticism, and of course it was not well received. In fact, Bangladesh government's chief advisor, Mr. Yunus, he completely sort of rejected it and expressed concern over these remarks. Now, how did he express concern? He said that these comments are misleading and damaging to the entire country's reputation and unfairly portrays the entire nation. Now, probably that is correct, but at the same time, the government represents the country. That's point number one. The government is not doing enough to control these things. That's point number two. And point number three, it is being spread a lot. It is not a confined event at one place for some days or one day. No, it has been there for months altogether. Now, it is not that atrocities were not there previously. So when we are saying that since August, in the month of August, after Sheikh Hasina, was no longer the prime minister, the atrocities shot up. It went to its peak. In few days itself, there were hundreds of attacks. It is not to say that those attacks were not there previously. It has been there historically as well. Every now and then these things happen. But in August 2024, it peaked. And till now, it has not stopped. Presently, it's not the Sheikh Hasina's government. It is an interim government that is doing, but it is not doing a lot, because we can still see that there is still atrocities. Now, one thing is that this statement is misleading because the image of Bangladesh gets hampered, and it says that the country of Bangladesh, they are trying to say that the country of Bangladesh has a long history of inclusive and peaceful Islam. And also, to an extent, in some quarters, it is being said that this, if you look at this, let's say cartoon, I may call it, or graphic that I may call it, many people as in the government of Bangladesh and the supporter of the interim government, they are of the opinion that you are just trying to demonize the country, demonize one particular faith, and some facts and figures can be portrayed in support of this. For example, one survey by the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian newspaper of the UK shows that whenever an attack is done from by a Muslim perpetrator or an organization which considers itself to be a Muslim organization, followers of Islam, then that attack news makes headlines 105 times, whereas that done by others makes headlines just 15 times, sort of trying to project a biasness which is over there. So all said and done, biasness is there, not there, but the main point is what? The atrocities on which we will develop at the by the end of the lecture. So now let's come to what the response of the USA has been. So what has been the timeline so far? Gabbard commented something, Bangladesh replied, then USA again made certain statement sort of in support of Gabbard, and at the same time trying to water down the situation. So what have they said? They have said that they condemn the violence that is happening, but at the same time, they said that we welcome the measures taken by Bangladesh's interim government. So here they are trying to do two things, trying to support Gabbard's statement and clearly saying that they are condemning the atrocities on minorities that is happening. At the same time, they are also saying that they welcome the measures that the interim government is saying, and also they have said that we are watching. Right. Now, so this is the series of events that has happened. Now let's come to the core of this issue with respect to the atrocities. Is it happening? Is it not? Of course, everyone knows that it is happening, but let us look at the severity of it. So first, let us look at the demography of Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a Muslim majority country. Over 90%, if you be exact, it is 91% are Muslim. This is based on the 2022 census of Bangladesh. When you talk about Hindus, they are the largest minority of 8%. So quite less, of course, but of course the largest minority. Then you have Buddhists 0.06, Christians 0.3, and others 0.1. So if you see, it is the Muslims that are in majority and the largest minority is Hindus. So majorly it is just this. The rest constitute just 1% of the population, which is very minuscule. That is why you will see the majority of atrocities are happening against the Hindus themselves. They are the biggest sufferers. Not to say that the other religion people are not suffering. Of course they are. In fact, in the Muslim communities also, you have a particular sect, that is the Ahmadiyyas. They are also facing certain atrocities, but the majority of it is happening against the Bangladeshi Hindus. It is a given fact. Now, what is the degree of it? If you want to know the degree of it, within few days, within 15 to 20 days, there were hundreds and hundreds of attacks within few days. That is in the month of August 2024. And of course, that needs to be paid attention by the entire world in order to stop this as soon as possible. Now, if you look at the impact, now this particular thing is a since August we are talking, But if you look at the decline in the population itself of Hindus, it is very concerning. Concerning in various ways. Where are these Hindus going? How many attacks are actually happening? How many are documented? How many are not documented? They are made to flee away their countries, right? So now that can create various other issues as well, but we will stick to the atrocities and look at the dwindling population. So this graph here shows the decline in share of Hindus in Bangladesh's population. So if you look at over 125 years back, that's quite a lot back, but still at that time the percentage was 33%. That means close to 1/3 population were Hindus, right? And now it has come to just 8%. So this was 120 years back, but even if we look at 1941, again it is quite high in the sense that reduced, but not much. In 40 years by 5% it has reduced. But here you see a direct 10% fall, 10% of the entire population, not 10% fall. This fall is 30%. But with respect to the entire population, the share has fallen by 10%, and from 28 has gone to 18.5 in just 20 years, and subsequently 13.5 over here. That's when you have the Indo-Pak war for the liberation of Bangladesh is also happening over here, the Bangladesh Liberation War. And if you see, it is consistently decreasing. If you just see in the last 10 years also, by 0.5% it has gone down in the share of the total Bangladeshi population. So there is no doubt that the population is going down. This is the distribution. The distribution is not that revealing or important as this, but this is the distribution of the Hindu population in Bangladesh. It is close to overall close to 8%, and everywhere it is, in single digits except for few regions. So everywhere else is in single digit, but the most important point is this is declining. So what is the way forward? This is of course very telling figures. What is the way forward over here? Now Amnesty International, various organization, countries are talking about that the interim government must take immediate actions to protect the Hindus and other minority communities. Immediate action needs to be taken. See, of course, there needs to be filing of cases, there needs to be judicial processes, and the perpetrators needs to be punished, definitely, but immediately the atrocities needs to be stopped. And that can happen when the interim government takes immediate action to do that, and subsequently, of course, swift, thorough, and most importantly, impartial and independent investigation needs to be taken place into the crimes that have been done against the Hindus majorly, and of course Ahmadiyyas and other minority community as well. Having said that, this point becomes very important, because if the government themselves constitute their own panel to do that, maybe a lot of things may not at all come out. So there needs to be an unbiased, impartial, that is an independent panel that is, or investigation that happens. And the first thing that should happen is every country should stand against this atrocity and be vocal in order to ensure that this is stopped right away. Thank you.